Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Breakdown Besties podcast. I'm Ananya,
I'm Akshay.
and we are your Breakdown Besties. Together, we have 14 years of experience writing for shows like Mismatch, Wedding.com, Inside Edge, Rana Naidu, Shark Tank, Rahan, and a host of other shows which got stuck in development hell but will hopefully see the light of day one day. With the Breakdown Besties podcast, our endeavor is to bring you a film school experience by breaking down all the tips and the tricks that go behind some of our favorite films and making them work on the page before they work on the screen. This is the film school experience that we didn't have, and we're now bringing it to you so that we get to experience it ourselves and you get to come along with us for the ride. And today, the movie that we're going to be breaking down is a 2009 classic, an absolute favorite. I haven't seen one like it. It is Pa,
Woohoo!
written by R. Balki and assisted by Rishi Veermani in the writing process. This film was really like a nostalgia trip, no? Don't you think, Akshay?
It was
Back,
so cute,
back.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
I remember watching it for the first time and it still hit me. It still gave all the feels and it's just like such a heartwarmingly sad film. Like is this a genre of its
Yeah.
own? Like
Yeah.
heartwarming but sad.
Bittersweet, I think.
Bittersweet. Bittersweet.
Yeah, man. So let's get into the first foundational piece, and that's the log line. The log line is your entire film summarized in one line. It's your guiding light, and it tells you what to look at and what to create when you lose the forest for the trees. In case you're ever lost in your script and you're wondering, what is your film really about? What's your central conflict? What are you actually writing about? Go back to your log line. And why does the log line work so well? Because it has four foundational elements which essentially keeps your story running. They are the flaw or the block or the limitation or the wound, which is essentially something that the character has within them, which is not letting them achieve their goal. Goal brings us to the second piece. It is the motivation, it's the prize at the end of the film, it's what they want going to gain when we come to the journey's conclusion of this film. Then we have the conflict. The conflict is the force that challenges the character's flaw. It stops them every step of the way from achieving what they want. And then our final piece is the stakes. The stakes is what our character stands to lose should they not achieve their goal. And it's not simply the fact that they didn't achieve their goal. They stand to lose something additional. And those are your stakes, right?
Yeah.
Cool. So I've written a log line down for Pa.
This time
And
I also tried, honestly.
you also okay, let's see where we get. So I'll just read out what I have. You can read out what you have, and then we'll take it from there, right?
Oh,
Cool. I have a 12-year-old boy with progeria wants to visit Rashtrapati Bhavan with a busy politician so that he has a father figure in his life, or he can spend some time with someone who feels like a father figure in his life.
is that it?
That's it.
Oh,
That's it. Like, I can break it down. Like, progeria is essentially the limitation. It's not
yeah.
a flaw or a block, but it's a limitation, which means he has a limited lifespan, all of that.
Yeah.
Um, busy politician, busy means like it directly opposes someone with a limited lifespan because if you're busy, you're not
Yeah.
spending time with them. And that's what creates the conflict in the film. Then you have the goal, which is visit Rashtrapati Bhavan. And the stakes are should he not visit Rashtrapati Bhavan with this man, he fails to enjoy the time of the father figurely bit with him.
Yeah.
So that is what I have. And yeah, you tell me what you have. Where have I gone wrong?
I felt you got the flaw slash limitation is the same, but I have written a boy with a rare genetic
Hmm.
condition, progeria. Goal is the same, wants to visit Rashtrapati Bhavan with a politician. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
correct. Busy politician is the right word because that essentially ends up becoming the first half of the film.
Yeah. Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
the conflict which I have put in is that he's unaware that the politician is his father. because they established that so early on in the film that,
Right.
and it's one of those audience privilege moments where I'll define privilege for our audience is that for our listeners and viewers that it's a piece of information which, as an audience, you know it, but the characters themselves don't know in the story. And so you are one step ahead of the characters in the film. Now, in this case, we, uh, Amitabh Bachchan's character Oro doesn't know the truth. Abhishek Bachchan's character Amol doesn't know the truth. The only person who knows the truth is Vidya's character. Uh, and there is a little bit of mystery, not a mystery is the wrong word, but like that's what builds the dramatic intrigue of the first half. So I thought like that becomes the conflict throughout the movie because they're sort of playing on that dance of is he gonna find out? When will he find like that intrigue? So I thought that was
Hmm.
the somewhere the conflict of this because I disagree with the fact that he wanted a father figure. I think
Right.
that's his realization once he comes to know about this.
Yeah, I
So
agree with you. Even, yeah.
so the stake is bang on that should he decide to not do this with this guy, he won't get to spend time with his n- father figure.
Can you read out your logline once so we can just get a sense of how would we construct a logline for this film? Because
Huh.
the important part that you have there is that, as you mentioned, is audience privilege. That we
Hmm.
know that
Hmm.
he is Abhishek Bachchan's son, but
Hmm.
he himself or no one else knows.
Yeah. Okay. I'll read it out. A boy with a rare genetic condition, progeria, wants to visit the Rashtrapati Bhavan with a politician, unaware that the politician is his father. And once he learns the truth, hide this hide this from the politician lest disappoint his mother. So it's a very
Hmm.
long,
Very
long
long one.
line.
I think for dramatic purposes, I would end it at who he doesn't know is his father.
Huh. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
Like, yeah. And there, because if I'm pitching this, I'm again thinking of a logline from a pitch point of view,
Yeah.
because pitch point of view, I think that does create the intrigue element and it does add conflict.
Yeah.
I think what might um, add one more piece of drama to the logline or conflict would be if we could bring his mother in there too.
Hmm.
And with with a busy politician who his mother doesn't want him to know
Huh.
is his father.
Father. Yeah. 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 Bang on.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah, because then that adds an additional complication there,
Yeah.
right?
And also, I feel like somewhere your log line has to also be expansive enough to cover the sort of base you're covering in the movie, right? Like this movie is essentially a three character piece. Like and your log line should be able to fit in all the three characters properly. So you're right. Like we need to add the mother's place in the log line, yeah, for sure.
Cool. Okay, so there we have the log line there, I think. Shall we go on to our hero's journey next?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Cool. So, the hero's journey is the structural spine of your film. It takes your hero and your audience on the same journey. It hits these emotional beats every so often, which delivers hits to your audience that allows them to stay involved in the film. Even if you've not got characters that are too well mapped out or plot that's a little bit here and there, hitting these beats and having these turning points at the right point ensures that your audience is going on a journey, right?
Right.
Well, so this hero's journey was honestly quite difficult for me to map out.
I think this was the most difficult hero's journey out of all the episodes we've done so far. Uh,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
again, I think we've this is a film which is not a genre film. Like the others we've had like a sports drama, a sci-fi, or like they have like a proper thread. Like and this is this is a complicated drama, you know? And drama especially drama which sort of emulates a real life a little bit. So it's not heightened for cinema as such too much. Of
Yeah.
course it is, but it's not too much.
Too
So
much.
I feel like in movies like these, hero's journey is a complicated exercise to do, but I think it's important.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so first we have the ordinary world, our first beat or sequence of the hero's journey, which is where we establish the hero's ordinary life before they go on their journey. What it looks like, the where, what, who, why, all of that. And we see what's their world. So over here we see Oro's world with his mum and his grandmom. He's a playful, fun kid. He has progeria. Everyone loves him at school. And he wins a prize for basically by fluke.
Hmm.
And he's not too bothered about being deep and or anything. He's just another fun loving 12-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to point out a similarity with this and Koi Mil Gaya,
Yeah.
that again, choices which is very strongly made by the writer filmmaker, which is that even if he has a rare genetic condition, they have friends. People like that character just to ensure the tone of the film is not dark and heavy. So again, here what we said, that his friends like him. The same was in Koi Mil Gaya. So that was a good correlation I could think of.
Definitely, which actually affirms what we're doing, right? By watching all these films, that it kind of makes you notice the pattern of things that are used across films, across techniques. It
Yeah,
turns an isolated thing into a technique,
yeah,
which is pretty cool. So, yeah,
yeah,
like Koi Mil Gaya, this is also a happy film. So, in a happy film, all your kids have friends.
yeah. Um,
Nice. Okay, then the call to action. So the call to action is where the hero is beckoned into their new world. They're like, you've been wanting this journey, come on this journey with us, right? Let's go. So in this, because we don't have a goal up front, the call to action is a little hard because we don't
hmm,
know what he wants, right?
hmm,
So I believe the call to action goes from the sequence where, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because chances are I am, Oro is hounded by the media
hmm,
post Abhishek Bachchan's visit to the school, because Abhishek Bachchan is a member of parliament. So there was media, and Oro was exposed in the subsequent media coverage. And given his rare genetic condition, he gets hounded. As he's hounded, he writes a mail saying, I hate you to Abhishek Bachchan. That is him acting on an initial call.
hmm.
And then Abhishek Bachchan sees the email and he literally calls him and apologizes. And then Oro, just being playful, says, you know what? You want to kind of get on my right side? What can I ask of you? Okay, I see a photo of Rashtrapati Bhavan in my principal's office. Take me to Rashtrapati Bhavan, right?
Yeah,
Like, that is the call to action, right?
same, same. I've written that as the fact that Oro says he wants to see the Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Bhavan, right?
Yeah,
Perfect. So the call comes from himself and from Amol, right? Like
yeah.
both of them.
I've also thought that this film needs to be mapped out from multiple perspectives a little bit. Like, because again, it's a three-person drama. And again, it's so much of it is like, oh, one person knows, the other person doesn't know, the third person is somewhere in the middle. So it's also important for a film like this to be tracked on multiple levels. So even like the regular life, perfect about Oro. I also think Amol's life that they have established, that he's a
Yeah.
good politician, wants to do school visit properly, all that stuff also comes part of it. And the call to action for his character is a little bit where he gets intrigued that this boy has progeria. I need to apologize for him. So
Hmm.
it's that confluence of both of these characters' call to action moments which makes the call to action for this movie, essentially.
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah. Because especially what you're saying is essential is important to note, because usually our films have a very distinct A track, B track, C track, right?
yeah,
Over here, Amol, which is Abhishek Bachchan's character, his B track of his political career is quite robust.
yeah,
They have actually, it's almost feels like an A track. Maybe. Okay, here's this is something that's coming to me right now as we're discussing this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember listening to an episode of the Screenwriting Live podcast. Shout out to Megan Lorian, who have no idea who we are, but we love y'all.
We love y'all.
Yeah. And if I'm not mistaken, on this episode I heard a very long time ago, they talk about not a central character, but a central relationship.
Hmm.
Because you have a central relationship that drives the story, and they use obviously the film they worked on together, Inside Out, to talk about to demonstrate it.
Hmm.
And there they show joy and sadness and their relationship, so they don't isolate it as, sadness's story or joy's story. It is
Hmm.
their story. So
Hmm.
maybe in Pa, we are not looking at Auro's story or Amol's story, we are looking
Hmm.
at Auro's and Amol's story.
Hmm.
So we look at the A track as a combined um
Journey.
this, journey. Yeah. So what you said about call to action makes more sense here, because you
Hmm.
look at it from these two perspectives, because it's their joint story.
Hmm. Amazing. What a analysis.
My brain remembered something. I was like,
Yeah.
oh. Wow.
Yeah. So cool. So cool.
Hmm. And then in terms of refusal of the call, I believe it's only a singular moment
Mm-hmm.
when Auro's character Auro is sending out the email to Abhishek Bachchan, and
Hmm.
his mom is looking over the shoulder, and she's like, "That's not okay to send," and he's like, "It's not okay to look at what other people are emailing other people,"
Hmm.
and she backs off.
Hmm.
That felt like the refusal of the call to me. What about?
I actually thought in the larger scheme of things, the refusal was when Abhishek Bachchan's character doesn't show up. Like
Oh.
I thought that was like the full, but because I'm thinking of the story just from these two people's point of view. Uh,
Mhm.
so but
Right.
but I could be totally wrong.
Okay, let's go along with it and
Yeah,
see where we
yeah,
arrive, and we can make our justifications. This is
yeah,
going to be a proper film school, like not debate, but discussion episode.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what constitutes storytelling? Cool.
Hmm,
I don't quite have a mentor figure
hmm, yeah,
in this. There's a mentor character, maybe in Bum,
hmm,
in his grandmom, who
yeah,
occasionally comes in with sound pieces of advice. But
yeah,
there is no structural mentor who says, "This is what you have to do. I will guide you on your journey." And then he crosses a threshold, which is
yeah,
what the mentor beat is. So,
yeah.
no.
Same. I've
And
written same ki Vidya Balan's mom's character, but incoherent.
go ahead. Hmm. And I feel that they cross the threshold
Hmm.
when they have fixed the date of going to Rashtrapati Bhavan.
Okay. Hmm.
That is my crossing the threshold, where
Hmm.
because now, after crossing the threshold, like once this decision is made,
Hmm.
they've had a video call. He said, "We're going on the 11th next week." We get into the new world.
Hmm.
Because in this new world, the reason I thought it's a new world is because of how excited he is.
Hmm.
Like he's going to buy a new shirt or t-shirt, whatever, hoodie with Bum. He's going to, like, he talks about shaving. He
Hmm.
tells all his school friends that I'm going, and Ari, I would take you with me, but I want to make sure it's safe and all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So that for me felt like the new world, the little ups and downs of the new world.
Hmm.
And because this is tests, allies, and enemies, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, in the meantime, we also have Amol's test allies and enemies
Hmm.
going on, where he is trying to get a slum redeveloped, and he is
Hmm.
caught in hot water with a rival, and they're both going at each other,
Hmm.
right? And in doing so, I think the approach to the innermost cave goes up, starts when Amol forgets that in all his political whatever machinations, he forgot to take Oro to Delhi,
Hmm.
right? And he has to deal with that.
Hmm.
So that is the approach to the innermost cave to me. That Oro is waiting to be taken to Delhi, and
Hmm.
this one forgets and
Hmm.
waits. Then ordeal. Ordeal is where you have to bear the consequences of not reaching your goal, right? Or reaching
Hmm.
your goal, but you paid a price. So
Hmm.
approach to the innermost cave is going for your bag of gold, right? Hidden under the
Hmm.
dragon.
Hmm.
And you grab the bag of gold and you leave. And now the dragon comes flying after you. And that is
Hmm.
the ordeal.
Right.
So in this case, they didn't get the bag of gold, but there's still
Hmm.
an ordeal.
Hmm.
And I think the ordeal is what do you call it? Amol reaching out to Oro and saying, please forgive me. And Oro is like, screw you. Like, I'm not going to let you have time of day.
Hmm.
And it goes on until Oro is at the cricket. He's playing cricket with his friends and he joins the match. And he has an attack of, I don't know what, but he passes out on the cricket stadium and he's taken to the hospital. So your ordeal goes on till there.
Hmm.
And then you have the reward. The
Hmm.
reward is something you gain.
Hmm.
Like essentially, you get the bag of gold
Hmm.
and you're free of the dragon. And
Hmm.
it is at this point, Oro's reward is learning that Abhishek Bachchan, his character Amol, is his father.
Hmm.
So that is how I have it
Hmm.
up to this point.
Very interesting. Hmm.
Please whack it down.
I think again, there's no right or wrong, right? Essentially, because it's such a delicately plotted film. Like, it's so small, small things leading to like a big reveal of sorts. So it's like I don't think we can say one thing or the right or the other is right. Um, so until the call to action we discussed, okay. Now the way I have mapped it is the moment when refusal of the call happens is when Abhishek Bachchan's character is not able to show up for the promise he made. And our character, Oro, feels very sad and disappointed about that. So that was my clear refusal for that. Now, for me, the crossing of the threshold comes to the point which is the midpoint of the film, which is that he comes to know that this Amol is actually my father. When Vidya Balan's character tells him that, uh, oh, I have a gift for you for your birthday. This is a photograph. And he says, who, why is he, what is he doing next to you? And she's like, this is your, he is your pa. Um, and in my head, it also made a little justification sense that koi mil gaya, crossing the threshold
Was
was
also the
the
midpoint.
midpoint of the film. I was like, oh, this correlates again. um, so, so
Hmm.
that becomes my crossing the threshold because it also that's the important part of the film, right? Like, now that a character knows that this is he is the father, how does he continue to for his goals or not? Like,
Yeah.
so that was for me that. Now after this, whether it's your enemies and allies, your approach to the inmost cave, the ordeal, the reward, they're all very tightly interlinked to each other for me. Because
Hmm.
again, I've thought of it as one of those films where small, small moments build up to a big thing. So your allies and enemies is I thought the subplot of his friend Vishnu, where he says that, oh, my father beats me up, but my father is like this, my father is like that. We are similar, we are different, like which starts sort of like churning the wheel in Oro's mind that, oh, let me see how me and my father are similar. So he does a little bit of
Hmm.
research. He tries to find
Yeah.
similarities between the both of them.
Hmm.
And then the approach to the inmost cave comes is when they actually get off on the trip together. Where it's like he's on the flight together,
Yeah.
and then uh, I feel the approach to the inmost cave goes on to the point where Amol's character has a little disagreement with Oro. Is when Oro refuses to go to Rashtrapati Bhavan, and they have that scene in the hotel where it's like, how embarrassing it was. People were waiting inside. Why did he not come? And I feel a moment like that is very important in a relationship film because only once you have a disagreement with in a relationship, the bond gets stronger. S-
Yeah.
So I thought that until that point was the approach to the inmost cave. Now, the ordeal goes on to be that Amol spends the next day with Oro's character, and they have a great time. They have that song in the metro. Uh, Again, a little bit more tangibly, we can see it when Amol literally sheds his piece of protection, which is the bodyguards. So,
Hmm.
so you come and like we established that they're now closer to each other. Uh, and again, there is more honesty, more candor in their conversation. And to me, the reward was they've had a successful trip. And it's that small scene of the flight, which is when they're coming together after they've come back. And when they're going back, you have that stay on Amol's face when they do that dance and he just does this. Like, so you
Yeah.
know that this trip has made an impression on him forever. So that's the reward for him. So that is what I have of this entire second act.
Yeah, I have nothing to contest that. I can see it fully from your point of view, and I can say that that does make sense.
Yeah. Like what I would
So,
also do like if I was one of the writers of the film, I would expand the trip a little bit more, you know? Like it just felt like it just came so quickly and just went off so fast. That was my act two.
too. Yeah, I can see it from your perspective. And if we say that crossing the threshold is when he receives the photo, right? Is what
Huh.
you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is when he definitely, like, you can't contest it. He does cross into a new world.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
if the conflict is that who his mother, let me think, and his mother doesn't want him to know that. I'm thinking of back to the log line,
Yeah.
where we added the fact that his mother doesn't want him to know.
Hmm.
Then, now I was going to use this to agree with you, but now I'm
Hmm.
thinking of the log line where we edited it to say that his mother doesn't want him to know.
Hmm.
And in that case, finding out who his father is becomes the reward.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
But I see
Fair.
it from both perspectives.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, it's so thin, no? Like Vidya Balan's character is also pushed to a corner where she has to say it, right? There is the fact that obviously the mortality angle isn't you have to take into consideration, but at the same time, you also have to remember that Oro's character is affected now by Amol's character
hmm,
firsthand. So far, he wasn't, but the fact that he
hmm,
hasn't showed up, he's felt a little bit sad about it. So now she's also like now he's become part of their world, like right, like
yeah,
so how much she can like not go for it.
for sure. And I like what you said because it's double abandonment, right?
Hmm.
Because he got abandoned for Delhi and then he's like, oh, you abandoned me in like life. So
Yeah.
this is,
Yeah. I fully get it why it could be the reward also, right? Like we can have two different journeys as long as we're clear in our heads. I think that's
our
good.
heads.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we have to know what emotional hit each beat has to give us.
Yeah.
So as long as we're achieving that,
Hmm.
if you can achieve the level of heartbreak or not heartbreak but tension that
Hmm.
approach to the innermost cave is supposed to give you,
Hmm.
like I think approach to the innermost cave is, I'm going to compare it to Johnny Gaddar at this point. It's
Hmm.
like, is he going to get that bag?
Hmm.
Is Daya's character going to get that bag, steal that
Hmm.
bag from, it's like Neelit and Mukesh, are they going to have that? That is the tussle, so there's that constant tension there,
Hmm.
right? So I'm wondering, like, for me, the reason I went with that um intercut of Oro getting ready and Amol getting carried away in his new life, in his
Hmm.
political career, almost gave me that sense of tension that will he, won't he? Will they make it? Won't they
Hmm.
make it? Will they make it? Won't they make it?
Hmm.
So that, and what happens afterwards is the ordeal.
Hmm.
So I think from an emotional perspective, that made sense to me.
Hmm.
But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great.
Great, for sure. Cool. So then my road back is all that you covered in your approach to the innermost cave and stuff,
Hmm.
where they go back to Delhi together.
Hmm.
They don't go into Rashtrapati Bhavan, but they
Hmm.
bond.
Hmm.
Oro tells Amol that I'm taking revenge from you by not going to Rashtrapati Bhavan for a mistake you made the last time. And
Hmm.
Abhishek Bachchan can't for the life of him figure out what that mistake in and he's really invested in that mistake.
Hmm. Hmm.
And It goes all the way to the point that Oro goes to school and he hears his friends talking about the definition of bastard,
Hmm.
and he realizes that he is a bastard, and he has a stroke or he
True.
has an attack and he's in
Yeah.
the hospital.
Yeah.
So that is the way back. Then my resurrection is Amol finds out that Oro is his son because he comes to the hospital. And Amol and Oro also tells Amol, it happens within a beat of each other, that you're my father. And Amol goes on to admit his mistakes to the press, that I abandoned this woman, but now I want to marry her, and he is my kid. Oro is
Hmm.
my child. And the return with the elixir is Abhishek Bachchan and Vidya Balan's characters take Saath Fere around the bed to symbolize marriage
Yeah.
between the two. Ah.
Yeah. Same. All this is same. All this is same. For me, the road back again was such a very minute moment, which was uh for a after they've come back from their trip, everything falls into the place a little bit smoothly, right?
Hmm.
Amol's Oro's character is doing a debrief with his mom, like, oh, everything was fine. Women, they want to know everything. And you have that moment of relaxing with Amol's character, that he's just lying down and he has this chat with his dad that, you know what, you must meet Oro. So this for me was the road back, because
Hmm.
again, like it felt like a big chunk of the journey was complete up to a certain point, and they could like sit back and like dwell upon what happened.
Hmm.
And the resurrection now again comes uh when he's in the hospital and
Yeah.
the father and son come to know that they are father and son essentially. uh
Yeah. Yeah.
and the proposal and return is the final marriage and the tragedy which beholds.
Yeah. Cool. So, other than the main act two, which
Yeah.
is maybe the main most important part of the film, we agree with each other.
Yeah.
Great. Amazing. What do you want to go into next? Scene techniques?
Yeah, let's do scene techniques.
The first I want to talk about is the introduction of Oro.
Hmm.
And we've talked about intercutting to build tension.
Hmm.
But I believe Oro's introduction is a good show of the technique of intercutting to build curiosity.
Hmm.
And it works well in a film like this because it is very visual. We're all waiting to see how Oro will look. It's almost
Hmm.
like, a Shah Rukh Khan entry in a film. We are
Hmm.
waiting for him to reveal himself. So we have Abhishek Bachchan on a stage and Oro in a bathroom, which
Hmm.
automatically builds visual contrast.
Hmm.
One is a very public space talking to a bunch of people, the other is private. And then you intercut. You first go to Oro's legs, you have his back to Abhishek Bachchan. Then you move up a little bit, back to him. And then you finally reveal him as he walks in through the doors of the big
Hmm.
assembly hall where all the students are there. So you see him, and you see him through Abhishek Bachchan's eyes.
Hmm.
So I believe intercutting to create curiosity is
Hmm.
also as good a technique as intercutting to create tension.
Yeah. Bang
Hmm?
on. Bang on.
Next, I want to talk about montages
Hmm.
because they've used them here
Hmm.
in the film twice. They've
Hmm.
used them to establish Abhishek Bachchan and Vidya Balan's initial college romance, and they've used it to show the beauty of Vidya Balan's pregnancy.
Hmm.
And I just want to talk about the reason we use montage sequences, because we use montage sequences when there one essential element is missing, and
Hmm.
that is conflict.
Hmm.
When you don't have conflicts and scenes, essentially they don't have a place to play in your film. They don't have a
Hmm.
part to play. They have to go.
Hmm.
And to drive my point home further, I'll also point out that when actual conflict came in, they cut to a scene.
Hmm.
So when Vidya told Abhishek that I'm pregnant, that is a conflict. So then they cut to dialogue. They had a proper scene. Then when Vidya speaks to the doctor after she gives birth, and he says that your son has progeria, this is also conflict. So they cut you out of the montage sequence.
Hmm.
So building a montage sequence works when there is little conflict, is the
Hmm.
point I wanted to make here.
Yeah.
And then I wanted to talk about exposition.
Wait, one more thing, because we're talking about montages. I had something similar on
Hmm.
the concept of montages, which is that this film, they expand Abhishek Bachchan's political career so much that it does in some way remind me of a of a technique which is called the montage of preparation, which is um essentially when a character is excited or optimistic about something and it doesn't work out the way they want it to. And this montage of preparation generally follows two other beats, which is the beat of a little bit of false hope that once we've seen your character prepare for something, you have a little bit of a hold, which is saying that they think, oh my God, you're going to do it. And it is followed by this beat of failure. So that we have seen your character uh, passion, his drive, the excitement which they want to approach this opportunity, only to be it come down crashing down.
Yeah.
So now they have done this in both of characters of Amol and Oro, I thought, which is you had all those scenes of uh, Amol's political career, his chat with his father, his chat with the opposing rival, him going to the slum dwellers, the opposing leader going to the slum dwellers, him having that whole press sequence, right? Like, so all that comes into this, and it's also simultaneously intercut with Amitabh Bachchan's character going for shopping, marking the dates like, oh, 4 more days left, 3 more days left. And until both of them confide, where he has the final beat realizing that, oh shit, today was the day I was supposed to meet him for Rashtrapati Bhavan. And him realizing that, oh, you know, he hasn't showed up. So, like, again, I thought this was the montage of preparation followed by the false hope leading to a failure.
Perfect. Yeah. So essentially, it's used to drive home the impact of the failure.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right.
It's that
That.
screenwriting rule, no? Like if you want your character to not achieve something, show the preparation. If
Yeah.
they are going to achieve something, just cut to it directly. Like don't
Okay.
do the build up.
Exactly. Yeah. We build it up only to break it down. That
Yeah,
is the rule, I think.
yeah, that's the rule. Yeah.
That's the rule. Yeah. Cool. Nice. Okay. Then I just want to get into exposition, which is a
Hmm,
very common technique used for
hmm,
exposition, which is giving exposition to the audience at the same time as to the character because the
hmm,
character is new to the information as well.
hmm,
So we get the exposition of progeria twice. First, we get a very quick explanation where Abhishek Bachchan's character meets Oro, and the
hmm,
principal tells him that he has a condition where he's a 12-year-old in mind
hmm,
and heart, but he's a 60-year-old by body.
hmm,
And then we get another second explanation when Vidya Balan has the baby and the doctor tells her about the more technicalities of the condition.
hmm,
Both cases, Abhishek and Vidya are strangers to the condition.
hmm,
So it doesn't become exposition where the character already knows and the information is being repeated.
hmm,
तुम्हें याद है जब डॉक्टर ने मुझे कहा था कि
hmm,
ये सिर्फ 12 साल तक जिएगा नहीं. It is them
hmm,
getting the information firsthand and so is the audience.
hmm,
So, terms of exposition.
hmm, hmm.
Then I wanted to talk about a nice Chekhov's gun, which I liked, which was Oro asking his grandmother Bum about the
And it's the
seven
same
fairies,
thing. Yeah.
right? Yeah. So Chekhov's gun is when you plant a gun in the beginning of the film and somewhere else in the film, it is used at a pertinent moment. So he asks his grandmom what is like the seven fairies, why they go round and round around the fire. And then we have almost the closing image of the film where Vidya Balan and Abhishek Bachchan's characters go round and round the bed to signify that they have gotten married in their dying son's eyes.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Hmm. Uh, I also wanted to talk about unpredictability as a
Mm-hmm.
technique,
Hmm.
which is I'll bring it up in the scene of Vidya Balan telling Abhishek Bachchan that she's had a kid, and Abhishek Bachchan is like, dude, this kid is going to be the end of my political dreams and your dreams to be medical dreams too, to be a doctor. So, like, have an abortion. So, and she storms out of there going, all fine, I'll have an abortion, but like, fuck you too, you and I are
Hmm.
not going to be together.
Hmm.
So, you ended on an emotional high. And then, next scene, you cut to an emotional low,
Hmm.
which is her crying and saying, well, practically, I need to abort this kid, but
Yeah.
she's still like crying
Yeah.
because she doesn't want to. So,
Hmm.
it's unpredictable, but it's rooted in a correct emotion.
Hmm.
You bring
Yeah.
unpredictability, which is also true to the character.
Hmm. You know, this scene, the entire sequence reminded me of the Band Baja Barat moment where
Mm.
Anushka Sharma's character had a sort of a confrontation with Ranveer's character. Like, oh, you want us to be bros, we can be bros. So she comes across a little too strong. Like she has a
Mm.
hard exterior in that scene. And immediately in the next scene, we see her crying for the first time. That she says, ki,
Yeah.
what a stupid fool I was. So the fact of using like a harder exterior followed by the soft interior moment, like a soft, vulnerable moment. I thought they replicate, like, not replicated because it's the same, like,
Yeah.
but, but, uh, but great moments to like show unpredictability.
Unpredictability. Yeah. And also, I think depth of character, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Hmm.
not to depth. Yeah. Cool. And I wanted to also bring a special mention to the opening credits of the film.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Same. I've also written it down. Yeah.
Right? So, in the opening credits of the film, you essentially just have Jaya Bachchan sitting down and narrating all the names. Directed by this one, assisted by this one. And I thought it is such a good way of telling the audience that this film is going to be a different film.
Yeah.
I want you to sit up straight and watch because this is going to be an experience that is unlike anything you've ever seen before, at starting from the credits.
Yeah.
So I think if you have the liberty to tell your audience what to do from the get go in that manner, like take it, dude.
And it's also sets the tone of the film that first of all the way she does it is so heartwarming, like she takes
Yeah.
such beautiful pauses, there is a smile on her face, there is it sets the tone that this film is going to be all heart, right?
Mm,
And I remember this film was marketed as the first time, not the first time, but like Amitabh Bachchan and Abhishek Bachchan not a sort of come together but have almost a role reversal of sorts.
yeah.
So it also becomes very important that this technique was used for the opening credits because it becomes a full family film, which essentially the film is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I thought it was very nicely done. It like brought an immediate smile on my face, and I was like, wow, what a thought! What a thought!
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah,
Beautifully done.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's all I have on scenes. What do you have?
I think we've covered most of them. I want to talk about the first dinner scene which they have after they reach Delhi. They're both having khichdi in the Taj Hotel. And again, now the audience knows that these two are father and son. One of the characters knows they are father and son. The third character doesn't know. And the entire peg of that scene with each dialogue is that Oro's character is pushing the ante a little bit just to like, I don't know, for the kicks of it or some like just to make the scene more engaging. Like constantly, like he's like the scene is pushed onto that. Like, what does your father do? He Abhishek Bachchan's character asks, and he says, "Ki I think what he does is dream a lot. So every line of the dialogue is a subtext about just himself, but he's not realizing that. So I thought that I don't know what the technique would be, but I guess uh it's interesting to see when one of the characters knows the core conflict of the movie and the other one doesn't. Uh
Yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think of how you would frame this as a technique too, because it's
huh,
something it's done across some genres and films, right?
yeah, yeah,
So obviously a scene like this is crafted more for the audience's enjoyment
huh,
than for like truth to the character, like
Hmm.
sure, it's real. Like Abhishek Bachchan would ask him, like, what
Yeah.
does your father do? It's normal. It's to that
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
But it is, I think, a way for your audience to enjoy the privilege that they've been
Hmm.
granted.
Hmm.
Like, knowing a secret is one thing,
Hmm.
but how do you implement that secret
Hmm.
so that the audience can actually feel like, oh, something is like happening here, like,
Hmm.
will they, won't they? It almost creates tension.
Tension. Hmm.
So, how do you use a secret to create tension?
Hmm.
Is, I think, a good technique here. Then, do you want to go into character creation next?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah.
I have a
Cool.
technique for Amol's character.
Okay, go for it.
So I thought from the get-go, they have tried to build empathy and likability for this character. So whether it comes from the fact that uh, the way he's treating his staff, because he gets a bouquet, he turns around, like smiles to his staff, very politely gives it away. Again, uncommon for a politician like uncommon for us to see a politician do that. So that automatically feels, oh, he's such a nice guy. Then you have a conversation with the principal immediately, which is that the principal says, oh, we've shortlisted 3 or 4 projects for you so that we don't have to waste time. And he says, you know what? I have time. I'm going to watch all of them. So that again creates another level of likability towards him. So this layering like of one information after the other, whether it comes from like his work life, the way he deals with exterior stakeholders, and even when he's alone, to show that in the same sequence, I thought they really built his character up very nicely.
Definitely. They've essentially, from the get go, shown him as a man who genuinely cares.
Hmm.
I think that is the technique they've used. Like, how
Hmm.
can he genuinely care about everything? Whether it
Hmm.
is in the start from like seeing all of Oro's projects, I mean, all of the school's projects, to later on, even like calling Oro and apologizing. It's not false, it's not
Hmm.
fake. He doesn't have
Yeah.
to do all of that, but he
Yeah.
genuinely cares.
Hmm.
Right? They've also shown him, to add to what you're saying, to make him a character we want to watch,
Hmm.
is they show him as an important person who other
Hmm.
people look up to.
Hmm.
So you want to watch characters who you admire. You will
Hmm.
admire someone important.
Hmm.
Huh? He is also a man of his word.
Hmm.
And when he's not a man of his word, he regrets what he
Hmm.
says and what he
Hmm.
does. And
Hmm.
regret is a big attribute. A character who has the ability to admit to a mistake and apologize. You like those characters. So
Hmm.
they've built likability in a lot of ways for him,
Hmm. Yeah.
right? And also Oro's character.
Hmm.
I think they've built a phenomenal character in him too.
Hmm.
He is very playful. He's
Hmm.
always playing around. He's not supposed to eat mirchi, but he'll still ask for mirchi, all of that. But he's also very considerate. He's very thoughtful. He puts that mirchi in Vidya's plate and says, just because I'm eating insipid food doesn't mean you also have to eat insipid food.
Yeah.
So he plays and then he's actually considerate. He's also smart. Despite having a coughing fit, see him later solve a math sum and say, like,
Yeah.
the square is, ka sum is 32.
Yeah.
And he has self respect.
Hmm.
He doesn't let anyone make fun of him, which they show us in the C plot of that girl who
Hmm.
got scared seeing him for the first time and ran away, which we'll
Hmm.
talk about later. In that point, he's like, you know what? She cheated me badly. I'm not going to feel bad about myself, but I'm not going to let you treat me badly. Like,
Hmm.
I'm going to
Yeah.
walk away from that situation.
Yeah.
So that's one way in which they built a very likable character in Oro too. And then one thing I want to talk about was Vidya Balan's character. Just one thing which they haven't used in the film, but they've established. And this is a character deepening technique of showing
Hmm.
another layer of the character,
Hmm.
which is where a you know that she's the mum of someone who has a genetic disorder, condition, all of that. But they've shown a layer of her being a gynac who actually loves kids.
Hmm.
So, despite the fact that she has this son and her life could be very sad because at any moment now in the next year or two, she's going to lose him, she is in fact telling people to have kids.
Hmm.
Horrible pro life plug that was there.
Yeah,
That was
I
my
know. I was thinking the same thing. Yeah.
right. Yeah, so like where she like, oh my god, for our audience, there's a scene in the film where one patient comes to her and her body is like not feeling great. And she's like, yeah, this is your body telling you you need to have a kid. You're 33, you're not having a kid. This is your body's way of telling you this is unnatural. Having a kid is the best thing that can happen to you. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
glad this movie was like 16 years old.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but terrible pro-life plug. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, but it just shows the depth of her character
Her
that
character.
despite going through harsh
Yeah.
times, she's so optimistic and positive about all of this.
Yeah.
So they didn't
Like
use it anyway.
it's her character's truth, essentially. So hence it doesn't feel so jarring, right? Like, uh, and it might just even fly by like a regular viewer, you know. But like, no,
I don't know. I think the way they did it, that what you're
yeah,
doing is unnatural. Like
yeah,
she could have still said, I think having a kid is great, all
great,
of that. But
yeah,
having such a strong opinion that, like,
yeah,
you are a cow. This is your
yeah,
purpose in life.
yeah.
So that
I know,
was,
yeah.
yeah.
थोड़ा सा तो it I mean uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you want to talk about next?
Um, Dialogue.
Sure.
Okay, I have two dialogues. One is the first dialogue uses the technique of using metaphors, which this film does a lot in the sense that uh, they don't, and that's and a metaphor used cleverly becomes subtext. So,
Yeah.
in the sense that he says, ki, this was, what was the first mistake you made? Oh, I got it. Like, I didn't show up. So, you're talking about the previous mistake when I got to the media. No, no, no. I'm talking about the previous to previous to previous mistake. And throughout the film, they don't use these things as like, oh, remember when you didn't come? Remember, like, you didn't, like, you got the media. They've coined all of that into just one thing that was a mistake. So
Hmm.
even in the end, when he says that पिछली से पिछली mistake मैं, that hits
Hmm.
you because
Yeah.
it doesn't say that I am the kid who you abandoned with 16, like whatever, 14 years ago when you had a fling with my mom. Like it's none of it is that. It's it's just cleverly used metaphor throughout the film, which becomes subtext so beautifully. So I
Hmm.
thought that dialogue was done very nicely. The second line, which I actually remembered before watching the second time the film also, was Vidya Balan's confrontation line to Abhishek Bachchan, which she says that just by lending me your bloody sperm doesn't make him your bloody son. Now, I love this line because it was again, I know like it's a little out there, but I feel sometimes your film needs to do stuff like this.
Hmm.
Now, three, four things this dialogue worked for me, and like the techniques which have been used for this is that um there is somewhere a universal truth about this dialogue, right? So the character truly feels about this. It's not
Yeah.
this dialogue was not spoken about by the grandmother nor by Paresh Rawal's character, but it belonged in Vidya's life and it shaped up
Yeah.
her life. So it was a truth to her character, which was primary importance of any character, any
Hmm.
dialogue. Number
Yeah.
two, it's a little bold. So,
Yeah.
like, it goes into the territory of like, she could have used, like, oh, but you weren't there. Like, you didn't
Hmm.
show up. But the
Yeah.
usage of words was like, she used the word sperm. So it's it shows up her anger a little bit that
Hmm.
she's thinking of it in terms of extreme technicality.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's again a writer's duty to like sometimes make a bold statement, like a
For
bold,
sure.
scandalous statement. You remember that because clearly I did. First watched the film back
Yeah.
in 2010 when it had come out, right? So the third was repetition of the word use of bloody. She says
Hmm.
that just by making him your bloody sperm doesn't make him your bloody son. So sometimes if used very if used with restraint, repetition has a recall value and it adds a certain rhythm to your dialogue. And even the word sperm and sun, there is alliteration here,
Hmm.
again adds to the rhythm of a dialogue. So hence for me, this was a gold dialogue that like really stood out in the film. So
Yeah, man, you've examined it from every
yeah,
angle.
man. I was like, why do I remember this shit? You know?
Yeah, yeah, fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
yeah.
Wow. Cool, very cool.
D-
I have one more note in terms of dialogue,
Hmm,
which is this conversation which Oro is having with his friend Vishnu.
hmm,
And with Vishnu, he says that he's talking to Vishnu about his dad.
hmm,
And Vishnu starts talking like an adult,
hmm,
saying, two men can't live in the same house. It causes
hmm.
a lot of trouble. And it's a very funny sequence, right?
Yeah.
Now, why does this work in this dialogue? Because comedy is built on one thing and one thing only. Not one thing, I'm not a comedian, I don't know, but largely built on one thing, just the unexpected.
Hmm,
How can you use the unexpected?
hmm,
You make a character do something that is that is not normal for
hmm,
characters in our world. And you can
hmm,
especially do this with kids' characters.
hmm,
So having a kid talk like an adult and he's
hmm,
saying what his feelings would be, that my
hmm,
dad hates me, I don't like living in the same house as him,
hmm,
but he's saying it the way an adult would say it, and
hmm,
which is unexpected. So
hmm,
unexpected creates comedy in your
hmm,
dialogues. So yeah, that's what I have on dialogue.
hmm,
Next, I want to talk about the world.
hmm,
Um, One is the world of kids, right? And
hmm,
we've touched upon this briefly in Koi Mil Gaya too, where the conflicts are also derived from that world. And one conflict I really liked in this was when Abhishek Bachchan says, we'll go to Delhi. And then Oro is thinking, should I ask Vishnu to join me? No, if I ask Vishnu, then I'll have to ask Hitesh also to join me. And this is a conflict that exists in the world of kids.
hmm,
So, how do you bring conflict into your story that is true to the world? What
hmm,
problems would a 12-year-old have? And
hmm,
this is one of those. And another one I want to talk about is a bonding moment between Abhishek and Oro, right? Which is where where Oro gets tired, and Abhishek Bachchan first creates a seat for him with his hands
hmm,
and then like carries him on his back. It's
hmm,
essentially a bonding moment. But the
hmm,
moment comes from the conflict which is true to the world, which is that Oro has the body of a 70-year-old. He can't keep
hmm,
standing for that long, which
hmm,
lends to this conflict, which
hmm,
lends to the scene. So,
hmm,
again, derived from the world, very true
hmm.
to the world.
Yeah.
Next, I just want to talk about subplots and the way
Hmm,
they've been used here.
hmm,
So, your subplot is a B plot, a B plot or a C plot, which is a sub story going on within your main story, and it ultimately ties into your main story. It solves like a problem your character is having, or it creates more conflict, etc. I want to talk about the C plot of the small girl
hmm,
who seems to have a crush on Oro.
hmm,
They've played it out as a misdirection till the
hmm,
very end, where
hmm,
she's always bringing him gifts, where she's always bringing him something, calling out to him. And you think Oro is just like a nervous 12-year-old who's like running away from a girl,
hmm, hmm,
right? This first causes conflict when she runs to him at one point and he
hmm,
decides to be part of the cricket game instead of
hmm,
just like overseeing it, instead of just refereeing it. And because of which he then has an attack and he goes
hmm,
to the hospital, and where we realize that he may only have another year to live.
hmm,
So I thought that was a good point of the C plot, tying into the A plot,
plot.
playing the function of the serving the function a C plot is supposed to serve.
Hmm,
And this plot goes on later when she comes to the hospital and they reveal that she had actually seen him on the first day of school. She didn't know him and she got scared looking at him and ran away. And Oro was deeply offended. And
hmm,
she, all this while, was apologizing for her mistakes. And
hmm.
she says that the one who makes mistakes often suffers more than the one who the mistake was made on. Well, you know
Again,
what I mean?
wrong, but sure.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely wrong. Only. And Abhishek and Vidya Balan looks at Abhishek Bachchan's character and he's like, oh, he made a mistake, but he suffered more. And she's like, I shall forgive him because a 7-year-old has more wisdom. So
Yeah,
I thought this
yeah,
was a good way of the B plot of the C plot tying into the A plot.
yeah,
Right?
I agree.
Anything else?
No, I think we've covered everything I had written down for Pa.
Same, same, same. That is all I had on Pa. Cool. Well, thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Breakdown Besties. So, like, share, subscribe, leave any comments you have down there, suggestions, let us know what you want. And we will be back next week with another episode of Breakdown Besties. See ya.
Bye. Hi again, bestie. For our next week, we're breaking down English Winglish. Yeah. And it'll be interesting that one of the actors in this film, Pa, has a very delightful cameo in that. So look out for that. Um, Please try and watch it before our episode comes out. So while you're watching our breakdown, you're up to speed already. See you next Thursday.